What's that? Who there? Whoa.
The brainstorm, which this has become my favorite section of the show. And basically how it works is, I'm just curious in what other things other than laws of motion and that space interest you. And if laws of motion was gone tomorrow and you had to start a new business from scratch, what idea would be most compelling? And like, let's just riff back and forth on how you think you would do it.
100%. I love this question. So if laws of motion disappeared and I had to create a different business, I think the space NASA element of me wants to talk about aging as a disease and how do we get super molecular and quantumy about understanding DNA, breakdown in DNA, the whole holistic, how do we measure that? How do we prevent it? How do we take care of ourselves and not play whack-a-mole with health? Also, more granular, I am so here for a reinvented umbrella. I think a direct-to-consumer, NASA engineered, material innovation, sweet price point. You can monogram it, you can personalize it, you gift it. Umbrellas don't have homes. How many umbrellas do we buy a year because they just disappear, right? I think that there is an opportunity and we need to disrupt the umbrella market.
All right, let's press on that. How would you design, what in your head, how are you visualizing a new umbrella? If you were to had to redesign it?
A rocket ship. I want to look at the aeronautical, how do we design something so that it literally has the most ergonomical, the right, everything, performance is the design, intuitive and human-centered design is everything. And then we look at materials and how do we make better materials that make sense, materials that don't drip water all over you. Maybe the water doesn't even touch it. Maybe the water floats above it because it has some electromagnetic
polarity or something.
Yeah. Right. Why haven't we solved this? It's 2021.
That's a great point because umbrellas are probably the shittiest product that exists. Has
Literally
anyone held one and not gotten wet? No.
Ever.
You just get soaked.
I just think we need to fix the umbrella. I think there's a better way to do it. And I think it could be the stickiest, hottest thing. And let's make the umbrella sexy and make it work.
What I was wondering is why is there not, so this is probably 1.1 off where it is. You're talking 3 or 4, V3 or 4, which we need to go there. But
yeah,
why is it not maybe it goes to your waist, not to your head. It goes all the way to your waist and it's flared out. So the water comes and goes off. And there's just a clear part where you can see.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it doesn't cover you farther down. Right now it just stops right here so you can see, but the water just hits you after that.
100%. And then you've got all the different sizes and you're what's the right protocol when you're on the sidewalk and you're do I go left or right? How do we?
Yeah.
The whole thing and
the whole thing's broken.
I just want to press a button and then if nothing, it's all no water, no handle. There's got to be a better way to do it.
Would you use almost a personal bubble, but not lame? You press something and your entire body is covered by something.
Oh yeah, and also the idea to that really translates well for COVID too, right? Personal, don't worry, right? What's the future of the mask? Maybe it's this product that also solves for umbrellas.
Yeah. What before Laws of Motion, what were some of your favorite brands for clothes or anything you bought a lot? And is there any common thread among those that just I find it fascinating what people just genuinely gravitate towards?
Yeah, I would always change everything. So I would even back to my debutante dress, I found 2 different dresses and combined them and I didn't like the heels. So I wore Vans sneakers with them, which was a whole to do, but just felt right. And became a whole moment. I've always adjusted buttons or cut the sleeves off or I would tailor my t-shirts when I was in high school so that they fit better. Cause I didn't why is a small women's t-shirt so let's fix it. And so I've always been adjusting everything. And I think that's probably the common thread is that's a great idea, the yes and of life. How do you yes and every article that you introduce to your life so that it's it really adds value and brings you joy.
Yeah, what I love about, a lot of things you said are awesome, but the one where there's Carly fit or Kyle fit, you could, if there was a way to give that, you basically have an ID that maps to all of your measurements, and then today, you have to go to Laws of Motion to get that. But tomorrow, I would love to not be restricted by which brand I go to, but I could just give them my Kyle fit measurements, and then their clothes could map me perfectly. That, why I don't understand why clothes aren't like that today.
novel idea, right? Like
Yeah.
how amazing would it be if like things that we like spent resources on actually like brought
Worked.
like, yeah, like added value back to your life in a way that like, yeah, I'm so with you.
Yeah.
Great idea. Maybe someone should do that.
Yeah, there you go. You guys are definitely onto it. Do you have any other ideas before we wrap up? Any other brainstorms?
I mean, the big one I think like that everyone should be talking about is like how do we treat aging as a disease? I don't think that it's about like when I say aging, I don't mean like how do we like get Botox into more people's hands. I
And
mean
like longevity.
molecular and like really understand like wellness as a source of like existence and better. I think it starts with better understanding yourself, right? And like really tapping into the tools and resources available to us to like better understand like the why, not just the what. And like I'm so opposed to like the whack-a-mole like health models. It's like how do we like you said, like how do we like take that capsule in the morning that like literally like sends off the right vitamins at the right time based to keep you like what does that look like? And like how do we like leapfrog into that having all the science and access that we do today? Like how are we not looking at like empowering individuals to holistically own their wellness?
Yeah, it's great. I think there's 3 things that have to be solved. The
Yeah.
first is the quantification, like the data. And so that's like what levels in 8 sleep are just scratching the surface, but it
Yeah.
needs to be more real time and everywhere for like
Yeah.
every biomarker. That's 1. 2 is like, okay, how do you equip an everyday person to read that data and to understand like what that means? And then 3, how do you build the products to automatically fix where the data has gaps, right? So like deploy the vitamins. It's going to be a 20 to 30 year journey probably.
Yeah.
But like I hope that they solve that when we're young enough to where like that sweet spot age where we extend is like not 80, it's like 40 or 50, so we can actually enjoy like more, good years.
Longevity and like extend
Yeah.
that. Yeah, totally. I think it's so important. And I think it's like one of those big audacious questions that can be intimidating to tackle. But like when you take little steps forward, like Levels and 8 Sleep are doing, right? And we like lean into data and like use that to empower decisions and then find those right solutions. You're right, that's a critical third component. Like how do you actually react to that? Like I think that we will, human existence it's everything. And so how we further that is so important.
Yeah. All right. I'll leave you with this thought. You know what's funny is I don't understand why the education system or whatever hasn't been engineered where like people like you and I like to think me who are just like ready to sink their teeth into big problems that need to be solved. Like you're not really incentivized by the system to do that. It's kind of like a risk and the reward is tough to capture. Like
Yeah.
we live in a money driven society where you're more incentivized to like be a consultant, make a good amount of money and just like chill. But really the world should be engineered the opposite. Like if you have that go-getter mentality, you should be rewarded for taking those risks even if you fail. It's kind of weird that's not how the world works.
It's so true. It's such a great like way to like summarize that and like it's something to think through. I think that's why we end up seeing like communities of founders like and CEOs like come together the way we do and like be so supportive and like share deal flow and like make introductions across other industries or spark ideas together. I think you start to see that like sending the elevator back down to summarize it, right? Like but like staying on it to welcome the person and bring them back up with you, And I think the more we can institutionalize that and give it some like real structure, like the better off the world will be.